Welcome to Press Review In Depth. As the situation worsens in refugee camps across the Middle East, let's look at what the media reports and follow up on the matter from a special interview from Lebanon, where around 1 million refugees have settled. A piece by Alia Suleiman in the Egyptian Ahram online is titled "Syria's Humanitarian Crisis Caused by Scarce Access for Aid Groups, Arab League Official." In Geneva too, Syria's humanitarian situation was described as dreadful due to increased difficulties in providing aid, underscoring the continued ineffectiveness of the ongoing peace talks, which have yet to yield any tangible results toward putting an end to the war that has claimed over 100,000 lives in 3 years. In an interview with Ahram Online, Dr. Faika Saeed al-Saleh, Assistant Secretary General of the League of Arab States, said that areas under siege in Syria have become inaccessible for aid groups, but that the Arab League and the UN must work together to overcome the challenge. Alia Suleiman talks about the Yarmouk refugee camp, home to nearly 150,000 Palestinians living outside of Damascus, another example of an area under siege. According to Agence France-Presse reports, the Yarmouk camp is mainly controlled by rebel forces, but it has been bordered tightly by the army since June, making it impossible for anything or anyone to get in or out. It was reported on Wednesday that 20,000 people are currently facing starvation in the camp. The Arab League said children in the camp are being murdered and facing extreme hunger and violence. It's a crisis that we all must overcome nowadays as humanitarians. Joining us today is Maya El Hage, Beirut-based humanitarian activist. Thank you for joining us, Maya.
Hello, hi. How
Hi.
are you?
Maya, this week we've seen all over the world on front pages women and children dying of starvation in refugee camps. My first question to you is, what is it that has been leading to this? How complicated is it now to get basic needs into the camps? Please, can we talk about camps in Lebanon, specifically where you are?
Yes, of course. First, I'd like to say that the media has so far been portraying the crisis in the Yarmouk camp. The crisis in Syrian refugee camps in Lebanon is quite different. They are not under siege, and access from humanitarian agencies is not impossible as it is in Yarmouk. Yes, of course, there is a severe deficiency of basic necessities and a lack of delivering aid. But in Lebanon, having visited the camps and worked in them myself, we are very far from a nutrition crisis. Syrian refugees in particular, we are living in quite a different context. They are more living in urban areas, not necessarily just in refugee camps or informal settlements. They have actually taken up residence with their families and friends in the cities, even in Palestinian camps. Now, in Lebanon, we don't exactly have formal settlements for Syrian refugees as they have in Turkey or in Jordan. They are residing in informal settlements, and they are being tended to their basic needs, that is, being tended to by international organizations and by the civil society. So basically, their food insecurity is not the result of a lack of delivery of aid. Rather, it's the result of a lack of stability and security, and of course, a lack of livelihood activities within their community. So they have actually set up communities, and they can easily access the external environment, unlike the Yarmouk camp. So what they are... Sorry.
Yep, continue, sorry.
Yeah, what they are also, of course, lacking, other than food necessities, is basic wash, so water, sanitation, and hygiene. Of course, safety, their shelter, their tents, their residences, if you'd like to call them that, are not exactly livable. They are living in cellars, they are living in garages, they are living in rundown buildings, and of course, clothing. So food is not exactly the basic issue. Also, I'd like to remark on the fact that the Syrian refugees, as I mentioned, their situation is different than in Jordan or Syria. So it's important for the media, I think, to capitalize on these differences rather than to just generalize the whole situation for the Syrian refugees, because their situation is particular to the context and to the country that they are living in.
Yeah, and for those Syrian refugees who do live in urban areas in Lebanon, besides basic needs like food and water and shelter, do they have many work opportunities? What are their employment prospects like?
Yes, actually, and a lot of small businesses and even big businesses in supermarkets in Lebanon, you're seeing a lot of foreign labor, especially Syrians and Palestinians displaced from Syria. They do have work opportunities. They are actually working in, let's say, not exactly the formal economy. Of course, their job security is non-existent, but they are actually receiving income in urban areas.
And what do you think that the Lebanese government particularly could do to help alleviate the situation and the suffering of Syrian refugees in Lebanon?
Yes, see, that's the major problem, because again, unlike Turkey and Jordan, and obviously because of Lebanon's internal struggle in terms of the existence of Palestinian refugees, the historical existence of Palestinian refugees, and the very fragile economy, and of course the fragility of the government itself, it has not taken a proper stance towards the refugees. So we do not have a central policy regarding refugees. So unfortunately, borders are not being watched. The government has not had proper systems in place how to tackle the crisis. And so the crisis has been left up to civil society organizations and to international NGOs.
So there is no infrastructure at all, no government infrastructure at all in place to deal with the influx of refugees?
Not at all, not at all. The government has actually chosen a neutral stance with regards to the Syrian refugees, because of the internal conflict within the Lebanese government. They have chosen to remain neutral, and so we do not have proper systems in place to tackle that. No.
Thank you very much for joining us today, Maya.
No worries, no worries.
That was Maya El Hage discussing the Syrian refugee situation in Lebanon. She also holds an MA in International Studies from the School of Government at Durham University. For more updates, please visit levant.tv. Thanks, bye for now.